It's about I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
Being able to run as he shoots the moon to the fans here in Green Bay.
That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Here we go. Goff from the gun to the touchdown. It is caught. Touchdown.
This is BS Sports.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with BS Sports Episode 2. I am alone this week as the Home Depot wanted to steal Seth for the evening. I don't know who these crazy people are that are shopping at the Home Depot past 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know who these people are, but apparently Seth has to assist them in whatever needs they are trying to do. I don't know, maybe they're trying to bury a body or something. So I'm live alone this week, but we got a pretty good show, I think. We got some excitement happening for the Pistons, potentially. The NBA lottery is in about 50 minutes. That's pretty much going to be the main gist of the show. At least once we get to 8 o'clock, that's going to be the main gist of the show. Let me actually take out my headphones, just because I don't really need to have them on, because I don't need to hear Seth. So, yeah, we got a great show. We got some NBA playoff talk as well. The Suns. I don't know what to do with you. You just every time it's something new with you, Phoenix. Every time. We got a lot of other stuff as well. The Bucks head coaching has become a little interesting now with Monty Williams getting fired. Ja Morant decided to be an idiot and, have fun with his little toy. We'll get all to all of that. Let's see. What do I want to start with? We also got some NHL, some NFL stuff, because the schedules got released. How about we start with that? Let's start with the NFL schedules being released. Let me actually pull up my Lions schedule. 2023 schedule. Let's see. Let's just go on the official website. Those are the preseason. Oh, I didn't know we got the preseason games too. Well, I guess I could talk about the preseason games. This is a live reaction. I didn't know we had the preseason games totally announced. I suppose I should have seen that. But preseason, Giants, Jaguars, and Panthers on the road in the preseason. None of that even matters. It's the preseason. We won one game in the last preseason. It's not really indicative of anything. It's just kind of interesting. You get to see some of your draft picks in action for the first time. And, you get to see players you probably wouldn't otherwise see. Interesting matchups, I guess. We probably won't see Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars. We might see Bryce Young for the Panthers. So that would be the first time we get a look at Bryce Young. Probably only for the first half. Usually by the third week of preseason is when you start getting to see actual football players, which is good because I enjoy seeing actual football players play. So we'll see about that. But the biggest thing I think about this Lions schedule is Week 1, Thursday Night Football, opening the season against the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning Super Bowl champions, on the road. And I wish Seth were here to see me because I'm here for it, okay? Not only am I here for it, I think, and people are going to call me crazy, I think there is a legitimate chance the Lions win this game. The Lions, in the offseason, much improved team as far as the defensive side of the football. You add Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. You add Emmanuel Mosley. You add Cameron Sutton to the secondary. Obviously, we saw what happened in the draft. We added Jack Campbell as probably going to be our main linebacker for pretty much all snaps. So you got that kind of in the middle of the defense. You added in your secondary. You already have a developing D-line with Aleem McNeil, James Houston, and of course, Aiden Hutchinson. So the defense looks better. The offense was already quite good. And especially given, this is going to be an early season game. We don't have to worry about cold weather in Kansas City in, September. And look, I think this team is going to sneak up on the Chiefs. Look, here's the thing. The Chiefs are going to score a lot of points. But I think the Lions can score a lot of points too. I mean, if you looked at the rankings, I can't remember exactly where they were. But if you looked at the rankings, the Lions were like, I want to say they were definitely in the top 10. I don't know if they were in the top 5. I think they were in the top 5 in yards per game and probably in points per game, but I could be wrong on that end. But look, I mean, we were up there with the Chiefs as far as productive offenses go. And I get it, it's not going to carry over necessarily, but you added Jahmyr Gibbs. You added David Montgomery. You replace, Jamal Williams, who is a dog, right? He's a hard worker. I love Jamal. But you replace him with David Montgomery, who is younger, has generally speaking had far more success with a much worse situation in Chicago. Now you insert him into our situation with an elite O-line, and I don't know. I think he's going to be very good for us, and I think our offense is going to be potentially, at the very least, our offense will be as good as it was last year. So you combine that with an improved defense, and look, the Chiefs, the thing that scares me about the Chiefs is obviously they are undefeated in opening season games under Patrick Mahomes. So it's already an uphill battle. But I think the Chiefs caught a lot of people off guard here last year. And this year, I think people know who they are. I think people are going to be acutely aware of just how big of a threat Travis Kelce is, how big of a threat, who was the guy they got out of New York? What is his name? Kadarius Toney. He can be a threat. But look, I think this is, at the very least, people really shouldn't sleep on the Lions potentially to, oh, was that a diving catch? I'm sorry, I have the Tigers game on as well. Yeah, Tigers are winning, so that's good. But anyways, the thing about the Chiefs, man, is like, I don't want to doubt Patrick Mahomes. I was like, what is his name again? Best quarterback in the league. I don't want to doubt Patrick Mahomes because last time I did that, they won the Super Bowl. So don't want to do that again. But at the same time, I'm of two minds on this, okay? Like, how hard is it to sort of, or how much does he have to do, given that he's in a much, he's got weapons, right, obviously, but how much of our defense that is improved, how much of that is really going to affect that? Because obviously he played against the best defense in the league last year in the Eagles, and he won the game. Granted, he gave up, 31 points? He gave up a good amount of points. And that game was pretty close. It was neck and neck. I think the Eagles offensively just sort of shut down in the second half. But look, I know this is the Lions, and historically speaking, whenever we think they're going to do good, they just kind of let us down. But look, I think this is a 12-win team. I really do. I think this team should win 12 games. I look at their schedule, and I look at games where it's like, okay, I think just off the games that I think they should win, I think there's about 12. And I'm not probably going to get all of them right? Like, there's games that I don't think they can win. I think they can beat the Chiefs. I don't know if they will beat the Chiefs. You see? But I don't know. Looking at the rest of their schedule, though, they got the Seahawks as a home opener. This is going to be a big revenge game for the Lions. Last year, that game was so infuriating. The defense could not get a stop to save its life. And when it did get a stop, there was some flag on the play, and that was always, and that just, that game was just disgusting. I don't want to think about that game. And hopefully this year we can get a little bit of revenge. I think the word is out on Geno Smith, and defensive coordinators and coaches are going to be looking for what his weaknesses were, because he kind of slowed down a little bit near the end of the year. He was hot at the beginning, and everybody was like, oh, Geno, he's a top guy in the league. He kind of cooled off there near the end. Obviously, he had a Pro Bowl. I got nothing but respect for Geno Smith for what he did last year. But I think we could beat them. I think we could. Week 3, Atlanta Falcons, I think that's a dub. I think the Atlanta Falcons, they're riding on Desmond Ridder, and maybe he's good, but probably not. Probably he's not good, so they're probably going to be in the number 1 overall pick sweepstakes that particular season. On the road, Thursday night football again. We play the Green Bay Packers. Last time we were on the road in a primetime game, we beat the Packers in pretty convincing fashion, I'd say. We pretty much held them down both on defense and on offense. We didn't score a whole lot of points, but it was a cold weather game, and the defense came together and really put on a show. And look, the Packers, man, I don't know. I just don't know about them. They got Jordan Love as starting quarterback, and the thing about Jordan Love is, and I've been through it, right? We got rid of Brett Favre. Okay, we're good. Packers are done. No. They got Aaron Rodgers, some guy out of, Cal that nobody put any mind to when they took the pick, and he turned out to be probably the best quarterback in that draft. And probably same people are thinking about Jordan Love. I mean, this is the Packers drafted up to get Jordan Love. Like, it wasn't like they have a pretty high grade on this guy, or at least they did at the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Love is not terrible. But who am I kidding? We're gonna kick Jordan Love's ass. Come on. We're gonna beat the Packers. This is ridiculous. Let's not mess around. We're beating the Packers on prime time. They got nobody. Their team is washed. They're getting set to enter a rebuild. They're probably going to be trading away pieces at the trade deadline, if not trading away pieces earlier than that. So, yeah. Then we got week 5. We play the Carolina Panthers, this time in our house. And frankly, we're going to kick their ass. Okay? I think the Carolina Panthers are going to have a rookie QB in Bryce Young. Bryce Young, I understand why. He was definitely the best quarterback in the draft. Maybe, I guess. He was at least the top graded. I just never really found him that good. Now, granted, I don't watch college football religiously, and I certainly don't watch University of Alabama college football religiously. But the games that I watch of Bryce Young, it was like, yeah, he's got some good stuff, but I don't know. He just, something about him. I just don't really feel that confident. He's not very big. Obviously, he had some elite weapons to work with, i.e. Jamison Williams, granted. And then the thing is, though, he lost Jamison Williams in the championship. He lost the game. I don't know. I think there's going to be some growing pains for him for sure. Because I don't even know who Carolina has at wide receiver. Because they traded DJ Moore, and who do they have? I actually don't know. And I don't want to know. I don't want to know anything about their wide receiver room because it's probably depressing. Then we head on the road again, take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think this is another pretty solid dub. That team is washed. They have Baker Mayfield as their starting quarterback, and he might even be the starter by then. Honestly, if he's playing bad, if he's not playing well, he could not be. I could see him not being the starter. I don't know if they want to go with the Kyle Trask or the John Wolford experiment, but they might have to. So that should be exciting for them. But I think we can win that game. Another tough game though. We got at the Baltimore Ravens. Look, I don't know if I talked about this last show, but I'm not totally high on Lamar Jackson. I think he's kind of sort of falling apart, but he's got a lot more weapons than he's ever had. He's going to have Odell Beckham. He's going to have, I think they still have Mark Andrews, right? Obviously. I don't know why you would ever let that guy go. They drafted wide receiver in the draft this year. That was a little redundant, but they took a wide receiver in the draft. I don't know if they're adding any more offense. I could be missing some things. I don't remember. But I know they definitely were adding to his arsenal. So that could be a tough game. But again, this is the thing. The Lions this year, I could see them winning these kinds of games. I could see them winning these games against established tough teams, right? I could see them beating the Chiefs on the road. I could see them beating the Ravens on the road. And that I couldn't really say that last year. Even though I did think that, obviously they improved from the year prior. I mean, they went from 3 wins to 9 wins. Things got pretty hot. And look, I think the Ravens, the Ravens are going to be boomer bust. It's really going to be on Lamar. And if Lamar Jackson is as advertised, and he can come back to having that MVP season like he did, or coming up 4-5 years ago. I need to put Discord on Do Not Disturb. That would be helpful. There we go. So if we could do that, or if he's as good as his MVP season not last year, coming up 4 years ago, then things will be a little scary. Then things will be a little scary. But the thing about this that I also get a little scared about is I know that Lamar usually does better early in the year. Last year he was good early in the year. I mean, people were saying, "Oh, he's back. He's in the MVP race. He's a top quarterback." And then, he just kind of fell apart. I don't know if it was injuries, probably injuries. But I don't know. I just can't really trust him anymore. I can't. I love Lamar Jackson. I think he was a lot of fun to watch when he was, good in the 2019 to 2021-ish, and then just sort of fell apart for me. I don't know. Not totally sold on him, but we'll see. The Ravens paid him, and it was a move. It was a move. It was one of the moves in the history of the NFL. So we'll see about that. Then we got Week 8 against the Las Vegas Raiders on Monday Night Football. And I think this is going to be a good show for us. See, here's the thing about our primetime games. I think all of our primetime games are going to be games to really show us off as a team. So it's like we could have a really good game against the Chiefs. Really, really make it close. Maybe not win, but really make it an interesting and fun game. On the road against the Packers, Thursday Night Football. I think that's going to be another just smoke show. I think we're gonna really light it up. And it's gonna be euphoric for the NFL world to see that, the Lions are finally just dominating the Packers. I think that's what they're setting up there. And in this Monday night game, I'm a little interested as to why they set this as the Monday night game. Just because I feel like it's a bit of a mismatch. I think the Lions are a much better team than the Raiders. I mean, they got Jimmy G as their quarterback, but I think he's pretty much done. He's a solid quarterback. I don't think he's that much better than Derek Carr. Maybe I'd take him over Carr, but I don't really anticipate them being particularly threatening, to be honest with you. And maybe I'll regret saying that, and maybe we'll lose that game, and I will cry. So that's fun. Then we have our bye week, Week 9, middle of the year. I couldn't have asked for a better bye, honestly. Middle of the year, we get our bye week. Not too early, not too late. It's perfect. I mean, it really is the perfect bye week. I think this is exactly what I would have wanted. Then we come back. I wish Seth was here. We come back, traveling on the road to the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego at 4 o'clock game because they play in California time. So this is going to be another interesting game. It's going to be on the road. All 10 of the Chargers fans in LA are going to be there, and then the rest are going to be Jared Goff, former Rams or current Rams, or I don't know. Maybe you have some Lions fans. I don't know. I know that's basically at the very least an exhibition match. Okay, that's at very least neutral site, right? It's essentially a London game, except it's at 4 o'clock. So that should be a good game. We'll see what the Chargers are like. If the Chargers are anything like the Chargers of the past, they will get really hyped up and then let you down. So that should be a lot of fun, and Seth has a whole lot of experience with that. Then we finally play the Chicago Bears, Week 11. It's really weird. We don't really get much of our divisional opponents until the very tail end of the year, minus that Thursday night game against Green Bay. But we got the Chicago Bears. I don't believe in Justin Fields. Sorry, I don't. Sorry, Bears fans. I just don't think he's a good quarterback. I think he got duped a little bit because he can run. And yeah, he's got some running ability, but here's my thing. I don't even know if he really did that in Ohio State. I could be wrong. I mean, it's been a few years since he's been at Ohio State, but I don't really remember him being that much of a running threat at quarterback. I could be totally wrong. I don't really remember. So, but I don't know. I just don't really buy it. Up next, we got the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. So I think this is another sign. The NFL is like, look, every year the Lions play Thanksgiving, and every year, seemingly, they lose. We're going to give them a game. Of course, division rival, so it's probably going to be a tough game. But I think the Lions are just a better team. So we're finally going to show the NFL world. We're going to show the United States of America on Thanksgiving Day that the Lions can, in fact, win a Thanksgiving game. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm going to be looking forward to that game. Then we go on the road to play the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are I don't know what they're doing. I think they're kind of avoiding actually going into a full-on rebuild. We'll see by this point. I think by this point, the trade deadline will have passed. So we'll see what the Saints even look like at this point. You could see Alvin Kamara get moved. You could see I mean, they're not going to trade Olave. They would be stupid to do that. But, I mean, you could see them trading off some pieces depending on how they're doing. But, I don't know. I'm not really that high on them because they have Derek Carr as their quarterback. And sorry, I just don't really believe in Derek Carr. I just don't. I don't know what just happened with the Tigers. Did they just get man on the corners or did they get Torque out? No, they didn't. Yeah, man on the corners. Sweet. Coming up here on about 30 minutes to the lottery. So I'm going to, I guess I don't have that much longer. We go on the road to the Bears. I already talked about the Bears. I don't believe in Justin Fields. I think we probably win that game. We won last year with a much worse team. And again, I know people are going to say, well, it doesn't carry over. I know it doesn't carry over. But we got tangibly better in talent. The Bears theoretically did too, but I just don't really believe in their quarterback. I at least believe in my quarterback more than I believe in their quarterback. Call it bias, I don't know. That's just what I think. I think at the very least, Jared Goff has a much more proven resume than Justin Fields, who has had like 2 years of experience. 1 year which was terrible, the other which was not great, but he can run, I guess. So I don't know. Then we have the Denver Broncos. Not really sure. It's TBD. I doubt that's going to be a primetime game because last year when the NFL gave the Broncos all those primetime games, they were not happy about it. They were not happy at all because the Broncos stank. But it'll be interesting about the Broncos this year. I don't really trust Russell Wilson at this point. I think he might be past his best days. But I don't know. I mean, he really had a terrible coaching situation, and now he's got an adult in the room. He's got Sean Payton. He's going to have basically the same roster, though, and I just don't really know. I don't really know, and, it's like, the pickoff attempt totally failed. Torkelson scores, but dude's going from first to third. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. Tigers. I'd love to see it. But anyways, Russell Wilson, I don't know. I mean, he could be better, but he could also just kind of be average. And that kind of sucks because I never really had that strong of an opinion about Russell Wilson. And now at this point, he's just kind of funny and not for the right reasons. And I feel a little bad. I feel a little bad for Broncos fans because they haven't had a quarterback since Peyton Manning. And that's been a pretty long time. And not that the Lions have had, I guess we had Stafford, whatever. Now we're with Goff, and we'll see if Goff ends up being the guy that we stick with for at least a little bit. But anyway, we move on to our first game against the Minnesota Vikings in the final 3 weeks. This is great. I love that they're doing this. We have final 3 games. 2 of them are against the Vikings. First one is going to be on the road. This is going to be another revenge game. This is on Christmas Eve. I didn't even realize. We play the Vikings on Christmas Eve. We're going to give them a Christmas present they'll never forget. I hope we give them a Christmas present they never forget, I should say. So, yeah, Minnesota Vikings. Look, I think the Vikings were total fraudsters. I do. I don't believe in the Vikings. I think they were total fraudsters last year. They were 11-1 in 1-score games, which is absurd. You don't do that typically in the NFL. I don't believe in their roster. I really don't. I mean, you got Justin Jefferson, who's a dog. In a good way, not a bad dog. You got Kirk Cousins, who's I think a little underrated. I mean, you see what happens when he goes on primetime, and generally speaking, any game that matters. But this is gonna be a 1:00 game, so you could get a decent showing from Kirk. But look, I think our defense is much improved. Oh, that's a pass ball, and that's gonna be another run scored. Oh my gosh, 4-0 Tigers. 2 throwing errors from the I guess there was a throwing error from the pitcher initially and then a wild pitch. Jeez Louise. Oh man. But anyway, yeah, I just don't believe in the Vikings. I don't know if they really fixed their defense that much, and that was one of their big flaws. And so I just don't really believe in them. I think we could probably beat them. We should have beaten them on the road last year, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. Bad play calls, bad defense. What are you going to do? And then this is the game that oh man. I am I would be beside myself, okay? I told Seth about this last week. We play on the road against them Cowboys, Jerry's boys. And let me tell you, if we beat the Cowboys, I will just I will be ecstatic. That's a Saturday night game, by the way, on New Year's Eve, the day before New Year's Eve. So that's going to be on ESPN and ABC, so we should get Joe Buck for that game. I like Joe Buck. I don't really understand the Joe Buck hate. I think he's better at baseball, but I don't think he's that bad in football. Anyways, I just want to say, as far as the Cowboys go, they're an interesting team because they're always going to put probably something that's respectable on the field as long as Dak Prescott is their quarterback. They're going to put something interesting on the field. So I'm not going to totally write them off, but we were pretty close to beating them last year. That game score does not indicate how close that game was. They ran away with it near the end. But I think it'll probably be an interesting game, but it'll be late. It'll be late in the season, so it really depends where we're all sitting. So it depends, have the Cowboys already won their division? Are they out of the playoffs? Are they looking for seeding? Where do we stand in that? All that jazz. And then to end the year, we head back to our home to play the Minnesota Vikings for a second time. So this is also going to be TBD. So this is another situation. We'll see if it's like a Sunday night football or a Monday night football or even a Thursday night. I doubt that. I don't think they'll do a Thursday night for that. I think they already have the Thursday night scheduled. But we'll see what they do with that. I could see that game going prime time, especially if it's, if the Vikings are, say, a wild card team and we already have won the division or something. I could see that being a thing. But yeah, I don't know. I think I look at this schedule and I'm pretty satisfied. Like I said at the beginning, I look at all these games and I'm like, yeah, we could beat any one of these teams. There's none of these teams that I think is totally off limits where it's like I'm just gonna be like, okay, just look competitive. It's not like last year where it was like you play the Bills on Thanksgiving. Okay, just look competitive. Just look competitive and I'll be fine. But obviously this is, we're months out until the season begins. So, rosters can change, injuries, all that jazz could change the situation. But as it stands right now, I got the Lions winning 12 games. I think they could do it. I think they're definitely winning the division. I think at the very least they're winning the division. I think you're probably going to win 12 games if you win the division. You look at the team last year. I was surprised. I was telling some people the 12 games. They're like, "Oh no, hold off." And I was like, you say we can win the division? You are aware that only 2 teams last year that won their division did not win 12 games? Every other team that won their division won at least 12 games. Even the Vikings won 12 games. And they weren't very good. They were obviously incredibly lucky. But I don't know. This is just like, I don't think it's that big of a jump to, say that if we're going to win the division, we're going to win 12 games. Like, last time we won 12 games, we won a playoff game. So we'll see if that's what happens. But pretty much all I had to say, I think, as far as NFL stuff. We'll have to talk about the Chargers schedule next week, I guess, if Seth comes back. Hopefully the Home Depot sets him free and we don't have serial killers shopping for shovels. So let's see what else we want to get to. So I want to talk a little bit about these NBA playoffs. And actually, you know what? Before we talk NBA playoffs, I got to talk about this Ja Morant thing. So Ja Morant just got suspended by the Grizzlies amid this. He was on Instagram Live with some of his friends. I don't know who these people are. I didn't recognize them in the video. I don't think they were Grizzlies players or anything like that, but he was on Instagram Live and they were filming some video of them having fun in their car. I don't really know what was going on. I don't even know who was driving. Also, I'm assuming the guy recording was not driving, but Ja Morant was in the other seat, and he was flashing a gun, or at least what looked like a gun. I'm pretty sure it was a gun. He was flashing it, just waving it around like it's a toy, and I'm just like, dude, why are you doing that? Like, what are you cannot be it cannot simply be that you're just that dumb. It's like you're just negligent. Like, you just don't care. And I think that's what bothers me most about this story is not that, John Morant makes mistakes. Because everybody makes mistakes. I'm not going to totally, hold it against him. But it's like, you make a mistake. You get into this gun charge situation that he had last time. Okay, you did something pretty bad. Okay, you made a mistake. I get it, right? You move on. You took your suspension, and you move on. But to come back and do it again, I mean, it's like, do you even want to play in the NBA? Do you want to pretend to be, like you're from the hood? I mean, like, dude, you're making more money than I'll ever see in my life. You're not from, the streets. I mean, you went to college. Like, how many guys out of the streets get to, go to college? Not a whole lot. And I just don't really understand why he's trying to pretend like he's some, gangster, like he's street tough or something. Like, for one, you're just stupid. I mean, like, you gangster or not, no gangster, you don't wave around a gun like it's $50 bill that you're trying to pay your tip at a nice restaurant. I mean, like, it's not a toy, okay? This is a weapon, right? The point of it is to, protect yourself, to protect others, hopefully. Hopefully you're not just, waving it around willy-nilly. God forbid he accidentally fire off a shot and he could have killed himself, his friend, or just hurt somebody. I mean, it's just like, how do you... I just don't understand it. It's like, I don't care if he owns guns. I'm sure plenty of NBA players own guns. I don't have a problem with it. I got no problem with NBA players owning guns. I do have a problem with people being negligent, and I do have a problem with him in this whole... He had this firearms-related thing before that he got suspended for, and then to say, oh, you know what? I don't really care. I'm going to, flash my gun on a video. And like I was saying, like, I don't think his friend was driving because he was, holding the cell phone camera for the Instagram Live. But then you're driving a car and then you're flashing your gun with another hand. Like, do you understand how dangerous that is? It's like, what if you get hit by somebody or you hit somebody and then all of a sudden you fire off a shot? 'Cause I don't know where his hand was. I hope it wasn't on the trigger, heaven forfend. But I have no idea. And I don't really have much of a reason to believe that this is like, that John Morant is some like responsible gun owner, given just the way that he was treating his gun. And that's the other thing. I don't even know. Like, the things that I don't know about this story don't make it better for him. Like, how do I know that this is even his gun? How do I know that, he's not like, he doesn't have a license to carry? Like, I don't know what the situation, I don't know what the laws are in Tennessee. I don't even know where he was, actually. So he could have been outside Tennessee. I don't know anything about the situation as far as laws, but what I do know is if it were me, I wouldn't want people to even know that I'm carrying a gun, right? Like, that's just not smart. And then even if I wanted people to know, I wouldn't wave it around, like it's a freaking party trick or something. I mean, it's just so disappointing because he's so talented. He's so much fun to watch on the court. And yet he just doesn't really seem to care. And that's just a theme with a lot of these NBA players. They just don't really seem to care. And it's like, yeah, whatever. I just, you just give up. Like, I don't know. It's like they want the NBA riches, but they don't want the NBA work. I don't get it. I really don't. Speaking of people who want the NBA riches without the NBA work, my gosh. The 76ers. The Philadelphia 76ers are a pathetic franchise. There's no other way of putting it. They're pathetic. They're made up of a bunch of losers. There's no other way I can look at it other than it's like every other franchise that I can think of. I can at least imagine them, going that extra yard. Now, look, I mean, they fired Doc Rivers. That was big news today from Woj. that they fired Doc Rivers. This is another guy just a born loser. But I want to focus a little bit about one Mr. James Harden. Oh, James. Oh, James. James. I have a stat here. Let me pull it up. And it is quite sad. James Harden's fourth quarter scoring drought against the Celtics was worse than Ben Simmons' 2021 performance. Harden didn't score a single point in fourth quarters of Game 5 to Game 7 against Boston. Not 1 point, James, in the fourth quarter? Not one? In Game 7, winner go home? You can't score 1 point? You can't drive to the basket, draw a foul, and get one free throw? And there's the funniest part about this, to me, is there are teams that actually want to go get this guy. Why? Why? Because he's on highlight reels? Because he's a 10-time All-Star? Who cares? He can't win in the playoffs. He can't win when it matters. You want to talk about stat patterns? I mean, this guy's just like a born loser. Sorry. I mean, like, I don't know how else to put it. He just... And again, it really upsets me because I really like what James Harden did for that MSU shooting victim. I thought that was really cool. And he just... He didn't score a single point in the fourth quarter for 3 straight games. This is the NBA. Everybody scores. Everybody, like, I don't think I can't, there's probably some players on the Pistons that, you know, don't score points, hadn't scored points in the fourth quarter for some series of games. But honestly, like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't even know about that. Like, as bad as the Pistons were, there's probably some players who just didn't score, but they were bench play. James Harden is a 10-time All-Star, a former MVP of this league. And he just routinely, every single year, he just folds. And he just doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's complaining after the game. Oh, whatever. Oh, we didn't do this. Oh, I was, you know. It's like, dude, you scored 9 points. He scored 9 points in Game 7. Pivotal Game 7. It's just pitiful. And, of course, they fired Doc Rivers. And, look, I think Doc Rivers is as much of a choke artist as the next guy. But this guy really can't catch a break. This guy really can't catch a break. When it's like, yeah, obviously, you have to fire the coach at that point. I mean, you blow he's blown 3-1 leads. He's blown plenty of leads in series before. He blew a lead this series. But to just look at the coach and be like, oh, that's the reason why they lost. No, James Harden is part of the reason you lost. Joel Embiid, who had like 10 points or something like that in Game 7, he's the reason you lost. It's because you have guys who, I just like, it's as if we're living in this world in the NBA where players want to be on highlight reels, but they don't want to be on championship teams. It's like they want to be on highlight reels more than they want to be on championship teams. I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. It's like, you'll be on a highlight reel if you're on a championship team. Do you understand? Like, these things correlate. So it's like James Harden, as soon as the lights go on, Game 7, everybody's watching, Mother's Day, and you played like your mother, basically. They might as well have Mrs. Harden on. Because she probably would have scored about as much as James Harden did in the fourth quarter. Oh, wait, he didn't score, so she would score as much. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I really don't know what you do with James, with James, because, I mean, I think the term born loser, it just sort of is adequate. Like, you just stink, James. You just stink when it matters, and you're a surefire Hall of Famer, and you're one of the great shooters of all time. Just looking at your stats, I'm looking at all the accolades and awards you've won. But as soon as, you know, the rubber hits the road, James Harden is gone. James Harden's in the back of the bus. He's gone. He's already ready to go. He's ready to go home. And then the other thing, so I don't know if I put a source on this, but this whole Joel Embiid after the game, or first of all, there's a few no-nos in post-game losing things. So things you don't say in a post-game. I thought they had McKinstry out there. I was looking at that. Things you don't say in a post-game. Okay. You don't blame the refs because that's just everybody's gonna make fun of you. And take responsibility. And Joel Embiid, it's kind of funny because he almost copied Giannis when he was talking. I don't know if he intentionally did this. I'm assuming he did. He talked about steps to success. Steps to success. Giannis won a championship. What have you done, Joel? Oh, you won the MVP. Great. How many points did you score in this game? Like 12? Oh, great. Game 7, pivotal. Season on the line. What do you do out there? The MVP, the reigning MVP. Oh, I'm going to score 12 points. And Joel Embiid goes on and says something along the lines of, I wish I had the exact quote. He says something along the lines of, me and James can't win by ourselves. And I was watching a RDC World skit, and they made actually an interesting point in their joke. They said, good thing good thing it wasn't just you and James, because if it was, we would have lost by even more. And it's like, yeah, like I think his overarching point is, obviously he had played some much better games in this series than he did last game. Same with James Harden. But the standard is still, you don't throw your teammates onto the bus. Because what is Tobias Harris thinking? What are all these other guys thinking? Like, you basically just said to them, hey, it's basically me and James Harden out there. When that's not even true. You weren't even a good player that game. You were like a net negative, essentially. But and one of the things I liked about Joel, basically before this whole thing, was he was someone who really never got into any sort of. He never said anything stupid at pressers. He never said anything bad about. I mean, really, he was pretty much a standard. He was vanilla in a lot of his temperament. I mean, he was a fun player to watch. Obviously, the guy's. I mean, he just is a good basketball player, but it's really upsetting. It's just upsetting to see him kind of make a stupid remark like that after a critical loss when he was the one who wasn't even playing. Unfortunate. Speaking of unfortunate performances, the Phoenix Suns are the most pathetic franchise in the NBA. I was talking to my brother about this, and he brought up the point that there are just some teams, some franchises that they just don't win. The Phoenix Suns are one of them. And I wanted to take a look here at some of these links that I had. So I want to talk a little bit about this Devin Booker situation with the Phoenix Suns. Because Devin Booker has grown into public enemy number one for me right now. And I don't know if this has changed. I'm pretty sure that it's pretty much still where this is at. So after the game, after the the absolute massacre that the Suns got put on, again, by the way, in an elimination game, Devin Booker decided to leave the arena without talking to the news media. Okay. A little weird, but he's upset. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. Kind of cowardly, if you ask me, but all right. We'll give him a day. The next day, at Duane Rankin, Devin Booker didn't do media today after not taking media after Game 6. The game as the day after, and Devin Booker doesn't want to talk to the media. Devin Booker, you're like I wish there was words I could say, but this is a PG. This is relatively speaking a PG show. But Devin Booker, you're just a pansy. Like you're just a little loser. Like you don't want to talk to the media the day after when you've had, theoretically some time to like really serenade on the loss, really think about it, And it's like, I don't know how well he played in Game 6. I don't remember what his stats were. I don't think he played poorly, but your team played poorly. It's just like, if he didn't play poorly, then I don't really understand what his excuse is. Like, it just seems like, dude, you should have been there when, oh, is that going to be a double play? Yep. That's unfortunate. It's like, you should have been there when, you're kind of the face of this franchise, right? You've been with the team for, I think, the longest out of most of the players. I think he was drafted before DeAndre Ayton. He's another guy who just, I don't know what his problem is. And then, obviously, I'm not gonna really get into it, but Chris Paul, he was hurt. But I think the earliest he could have come back is Game 6, but I guess they just figured, no. And, like, I was saying, maybe Chris Paul should have sacrificed his other hamstring, and then they would have won 2 more games. But clearly he didn't. Clearly his first hamstring didn't do him much of a favor. But Kevin Durant, he's another one. I mean, how many times are you going to go to a different team and just not win? This is now the second team that he's been to since going to the Warriors and grabbing a couple of rings there and then trying to do it on his own. And it doesn't look like it's working out for him. So, I don't know. And the Suns firing Monty Williams, it was one of the moves in the NBA so far. And for me, he's the kind of guy that I would love the Pistons to hire. Guy that was there for Chris Paul back in New Orleans. A respected guy, a loved guy in the league by the players. And he went to the NBA Finals. He could have won it, but he didn't. And this is going to be a young team. I think he's going to have a lot of work ahead of him, but he's a respectable guy, and I think this is exactly the kind of guy that I would love the Pistons to hire. There's a connection with him and Troy Weaver as well, back when he was at Oklahoma City. I think it certainly should. It would be a much better hire than Kevin Ollie. So, yeah. But speaking of the Pistons, speaking of Kevin Ollie and that whole shebang, I'm going to go ahead and flip on to the lottery, which is supposed to be getting started here in just a few minutes. As far as the Suns talk and Monty Williams talk, I think the Bucks are also potentially eyeing him. I think, is it like its own show? Get the ESPN. Yes. Okay. So turn on ESPN, and we'll have that on for once the lottery gets started. I wish Seth was here to talk a little bit more about what he might think, because he had some other articles potentially. Put together a couple of coaching candidates for the Bucks. Mark Jackson, Scott Brooks, James Borrego, Kenny Atkinson. The only one that sounds familiar is Mark Jackson. He coached the Golden State Warriors for a little bit. I'm not sure if he's exactly the most beloved coaching potential hire. Seth's not here, so he's not really here to speak on it, so I don't really know how Bucks fans feel about it. But there's that. But I also wanted to throw in, because of the Monty Williams hiring, that that was actually what I put. Okay, so here it is. A little detail on Mark Jackson. He had a .526 winning percentage in 3 seasons as Warriors coach and was a finalist for the Kings job last year. So he's got a resume. He had a winning record with the Warriors. Kind of a veteran of the league. And I don't know. I don't know if he's like the guy for the Warriors or the Bucks, but I don't know. Maybe next week we'll have to circle back with Seth and see what he's thinking. Couple other notes. I guess I could talk a little bit very briefly. The Washington Commanders officially sold. And I asked the question, is this really going to change their trajectory? I mean, obviously terrible ownership, just bad all around. I mean, like, bad on a results on the field standpoint, bad on a morality standpoint, bad on a culture standpoint, just a very bad owner in Dan Snyder. I don't know who their new owner is going to be. I don't know if this new owner is going to be good. I know it was in the group with Magic Johnson in it, so I don't know if he's like a part owner or how that works exactly, but I don't know. I really don't know. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes for the Commanders. I wish them the best, just because, I mean, Washington, they've obviously been through hell with the renaming and the football team and the Dan Snyder being Dan Snyder, and now they're the Commanders with arguably the worst logo in the league, probably the worst name in the league, and honestly, not the best jerseys. I mean, it's like they don't really have anything going for them. It didn't really, nothing really feels good for them. But I don't know. We'll see. But it is now counting down on the final 15 seconds till we get into the lottery. So I don't know if it's like immediate. Like, I don't know how this works. I can't remember. I know there's a little bit of a show, but I guess we'll talk a little bit about the lottery. Basically, if the Pistons don't win the lottery, I'm going to be very sad. If they win the lottery, I'm going to be very loud. I'm going to be very happy. I will have the volume on just relatively low. But look, this is basically the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. And they can pretend that it's not, but this is what it is. You know, we lost 66 games last year. Went 16-66. We were easily the worst team in basketball on basically all fronts. Cade Cunningham was hurt the whole year. And I just it's gotta be, we have to win. We just or else, I don't know. I posted the video last week. We talked about it last week. This Pistons rebuild is just totally directionless. If you give Victor Wembanyama, you put a direction on a directionless rebuild. You actually put something of a standard to the, to the brand. I mean, it's just. And the thing is, I'm rocking my Ben Wallace shirt, rocking my Ben Wallace Pistons shirt, because he's going to be representing us at the lottery. And last time he represented us at the lottery, we got the number 1 pick. We got Cade Cunningham. I was very happy about that. But this is beyond Cade Cunningham. This is like Cade Cunningham times a million. It's Victor Wembanyama is a 7'5" Kevin Durant, basically. And it's funny because he's not even there. When literally the rest of these, I don't want to be disrespectful. The rest of these guys that nobody's really thinking that much about, they're there, but the only one that is really the focus is Victor Wembanyama. I mean, I'm just looking at the highlights they're showing of this guy. He is an alien. He's so skinny, and that's what worries me. The guy is about as he's like a freaking beanpole, but I guess he's in France. Oh, so obviously he's French. It's 2 a.m. in France, and he's waiting to watch. But there's the stage, and Ben Wallace is not up on the stage there. As far as teams that I absolutely do not want to see get it, you have the Mavericks, the Bulls. If the Spurs get it, I will be pissed too. I'm sorry. It's I know people are. It's I don't like the draft lottery to begin with, because I just don't. I'm not gonna say that it's totally rigged, but I'm not gonna say that it's not totally rigged, right? I don't think every year they're okay, which team can we screw? It's in these situations, I think there's probably some decision making involved. Here's the thing. I want to see them do it live. And even then, obviously that's not totally foolproof, but at the very least, don't hide it, right? Don't make it it's this super secretive process. Wouldn't it be far more fun if it's you just put however many names of teams in a basket and you shuffle it all up, right? And you just, I don't know, you do whatever you want. Or you could do the ping pong balls, whatever you want. Put, I don't know, let's say, I guess it's 100%, right? So you put 100 balls in there, and you put 14 of them for the Pistons, 14 of them for the Rockets, 14 of them for the Spurs, and kind of go from there. Obviously, the thing is, some of them are like half, so I don't know. Maybe you do like, I don't know how you could make it even, right? You could figure a way to make it even so that every team's odds are fair and all that. But like, I just wish it's like, why is it like, why is it not just like shown? I just don't. It just seems to me, if you're gonna do something like this, like if you're gonna have a draft lottery, it would behoove you to make it open to the public, right? It would behoove you to just sort of have it open, have it so that everybody sees it, and we don't have to worry about. I mean, the thing that we would then worry about is if they're like, because if it's just live, right? Like they can't fake whatever they picked, but we'd have to worry about whether or not there's legitimate, things going in. And even then, they could probably make something up where you see like 14 balls for the Pistons, 14 balls for the Rockets, 14 balls for, was it Portland? I think it is. I'm not totally sure. Whatever. You can make it work, right? That's just my point. I don't know. But, yeah, Victor Wembanyama is, oh my gosh, I'm just watching his highlights, and it's like, I mean, granted, he's playing against Joe Schmo in France, but I'm sorry, you're 7'5", and you can shoot from the arc. Like, 21.6 points per game, 47% from the field, 10.5 rebounds, 3 blocks. I mean, that's like, that is unbelievable already on its face. But I mean, just look at, he is an absolute alien. He is towering over every single buddy in that room. And then we just have all these other guys. You got Scoot Henderson, you got Brandon Miller. I'm sorry. I want Victor. We were the worst team in the league. Give us Victor. Please. NBA, Adam Silver. I've already said this. I said this to my brother. I said this to Seth. If we get Victor Wembanyama, I'm buying a jersey. And I don't buy jerseys. I buy stuff like this. This is my cup of tea. I like shirts. I like hoodies. I like hats. I don't buy jerseys. I will buy a Victor Wembanyama jersey. And that's going to make the league money, right? Come on. That's got to be something. I'll give you, $200 for your stupid Victor Wembanyama teal jersey. I don't even know if they'll have the teal next year. We'll see. But I don't know. There's just, I'm pretty nervous. Okay, so it looks like it's revealed in about 10.5 minutes. Okay, so I don't really know. We're just going to be kind of waiting here, and I'm just going to be rambling. I guess in the meantime, I can kind of talk a little bit about the playoff matchups. So obviously the conference finals have been set. You got the Denver Nuggets taking on the Lakers later tonight, and then you got the Heat taking on the Celtics. Big storyline about this is the exact Final Four during the bubble 3 years ago. I don't really think this is that interesting. There's a lot of people, especially like really hardcore LeBron fans, who are like, oh, like, see, the bubble was totally real. All you guys who like made fun of it, it's like, look, all the teams are back. And 1 minute. I mean, my thing there is, for one, the teams that made it to this Final Four are not the same teams as they were back then, just roster-wise. I mean, just off the top of my head, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is playing for the other team now, so that's a difference. And some people, it's the superstar. Sure, fine, I'll give you that. But what happens then if the Lakers get in, but the Heat lose? Or the Nuggets get in and the Heat win? Or the Nuggets and the Celtics play? Does this whole narrative just fall apart? Like, it just seems a little silly. It's like, yeah, it's kind of a weird coincidence. You have the same teams from the Final Four of the bubble year as you did, this year. But, like, again, these are different teams. These are different situations. And if the result change, like, what are you going to say? Like, are you just going to be like, oh, well, I guess the bubble really was fake? It's like, I'm not saying the bubble is, like, fake. Certainly not fake. They played the games. Wasn't like they weren't playing hard. All I'm saying is it's certainly the most silly, or at least it was the weirdest of all the NBA playoffs in the history of the NBA, right? It is the oddest of them all, right? It's not a normal It was not a normal playoff. But I don't know. I just love they're interviewing Amen Thompson, and I don't even know who Osor Thompson is. I guess they're brothers. I'm assuming maybe they're not brothers. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but who cares about these guys? Nobody really cares. Like, the only guy that we would care about is Victor Wembanyama, and he's not even here. He's in France. And the other thing about this, okay, so there's a few levels, right? There's a few layers to why I think the Pistons should land Victor Wembanyama, okay? Here are my layers, okay? Number one, the French connection. We got Killian Hayes. He was from the French league. We got Detroit, which is a French name, Detroit. So he's coming. It's gonna be a French name, right? Right? You with me? That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all, that's all I got. Sorry. Ben Wallace is representing us. Go Ben. Go Big Ben. He won a championship. I don't know. I'm just here. Okay. Yeah, they put us up there. See, and you know what else is just painful? I didn't expect us to be in this situation where we're begging for the number one overall pick. I thought we weren't going to be in the running, really. I thought we would be closer to the Pelicans or the Pelicans have a 0.5% chance. If the Pelicans win the lottery, I will rain hellfire on the city of New Orleans. In Minecraft, I will rain hellfire on the city of the city of New Orleans. Oh, here come the representatives. Where's Big Ben? I'm looking for. Oh, there he is. He's the very large man. Oh my gosh. Lottery order revealed. Are they doing it next? It says 6 minutes. Oh, I'm so stressed. I didn't expect to actually be this stressed about it, but I'm actually incredibly stressed. Oh no. Please. Oh, I'm just begging you. I'm begging you, NBA. Please. Like, this would... I mentioned it before. This would totally reset where we're at in this rebuild. We would be, on our way. in a sense, we would be the team. We would be the team for players that are free agents. For we would be interesting. People would want to cover us. It is so vital because all these other teams, frankly, I mean, they're not hard for the national media to cover, right? Like, even the Spurs and the Rockets, who are both terrible, they're bigger markets for basketball, obviously. You still have Greg Popovich over at San Antonio, and he always gets a lot of attention. I don't know what's going on with the Rockets, but they have the James Harden thing. They might have a reunion. I don't know if that's a story at all. But, like, with the Pistons, man, it was like nobody was talking about the Pistons. Other than that they're in the draft lottery. Like, I think that was basically the only reason. And, like, because, like, once Cade got hurt, it was like, all right, that's it. Because Jaden's not winning Rookie of the Year. And Cade should have won Rookie of the Year, but he didn't. He got robbed. And it's like, I think you have... Look, I'm just thinking of a starting five here. And this could be totally off, but I'm thinking of the starting five. And you got Victor. You got Cade. You got Jaden. Isaiah Stewart. Dare I say Isaiah Stewart. I mean, whoever we get in the offseason, I think we could go after a Jaylen Brown. I think we could go after a Chris Middleton. Go after some of these guys. Go after some of these established players. We don't exactly have a whole lot of assets as far as draft capital, because obviously we're not trading the first overall pick. But you could do something, right? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I just want Victor Wembanyama. If you get Victor Wembanyama, all right, we have something. We're free agents are just going to come to us. It's not going to be like this thing where we got to convince people to come play for us. And we got to take, damaged goods. Not that every player you get is going to be damaged goods in some sense. But it's going to be a whole lot easier to convince someone. Like, hey, you're going to play with Victor Wembanyama. This guy is a generational talent. This guy he's been praised by Steph Curry, by LeBron James, by all these NBA executives in private or whatever. And I'm beside myself. Like I don't know what we do if we don't get it. I really don't. Like I mean, try to trade the pick for an established player, but it's the NBA. Like a top 5 pick is not necessarily that valuable. I don't know. I'm very nervous right now. I got my Ben Wallace shirt. Come on, Ben. Give me some luck. You gave us some luck a couple of years ago. Come on, Ben. Won us a title. We're coming up on 2 decades since we last won an NBA title. And I don't know. I'm nervous. 2.5 minutes. They come back just to show Jokic just lobbing up passes. This is the NBA draft lottery drawing room. Who am I, like, who are these people? Like, who's that guy from the Pistons? I don't even know who those people are. Like, that's not the general manager. It's not Troy Weaver. I don't know who that is. That Tom Gores? I don't think so. I don't know who half these people are. Is it that time? Are we revealing the lottery results? I guess we still have 2 minutes. I don't know why they're really teasing it. And it's like, yeah. Can we just get to it? Like, they already did the lottery, right? Like, what are they? I don't understand why they gotta, like, tease us. Like, yes, we know. Victor Wembanyama. Everybody wants him. Just let me know if we're gonna get him. If we get him, I'm gonna scream. Just letting everybody know. Oh, jeez. I don't know what any of this crap is. They're talking about protected picks, and if it lands here, the team gets it. Whatever. I don't care. The lowest the Pistons can drop is 5. And if they get 5, I'm ending the stream. I don't know if I understand. There's really not much more for me to talk about after the lottery. But here we go. Final minute. Oh, boy. Send up a prayer. Send up a prayer to our Lord, because, oh, boy. Oh. Jeez. He's just... Oh, that's the Pelicans guy. Okay, so they're showing all the people, all the reps. Okay, yeah, that's Bobby Webster. You're very slow. There's Nick Collison. I don't even know who that is. They got the Bulls put a player? Okay. They put I swear, if the Mavs win, then it's rigged, and nobody can tell me otherwise. They put the Jazz just put Colin Sexton out there. Like, yeah, sure, let's put our guard out there. This is the head coach, okay, for the Wizards. Tyrese Halliburton, I knew. Yeah. We took Killian Hayes that year, so that's fine. Jamal Mosley, the head coach. I didn't know that. Okay. Oh, jeez. Brandon Roy? Jeez. He got a little big. Mark Williams. They just put it's like, why do they... I don't really get these teams just putting their players. Like, I mean, I get it, I guess, but like... Oh, I swear if the Spurs get it. If the Spurs get it, then whatever. Just get out of here. There's Ben Wallace. Look at Big Ben. Look at my man. Look at Big Ben. He knows. He knows he's the lucky piece. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm very nervous. Here we go. I don't know if it's even picking up on the microphone, but all right. All right. Oh my gosh. Ben Wallace is like, if we don't get the number I'll pick, I'm going to kill somebody. Gosh. Adam Silver. I'm just saying. You already know the results. The Pelicans. Okay, cool. Pelicans didn't move. That's yeah, cool. The Toronto Raptors. They also didn't move. Okay. This is so intense. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay. Everything's in order. The Orlando Magic. Dang. Okay. I'm so nervous right now. Oh, thank God the Mavericks. Thank God. Oh, I got a little nervous there. Thank God. The Mavericks don't get Victor. Thank God. The Utah Jazz. Okay. Okay. Oh gosh. Oh, I get nervous. We're getting closer to 5. The Washington Wizards at 8. Okay. Oh gosh, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. The Indiana Pacers at 7. Okay. Tyrese is just like sitting there like, yep. 6. Okay. The Orlando Magic. Okay. Oh dear. We're at 5. Oh, don't be the Pistons, please. No, you fucking bitches! Oh my God, are you kidding me? You've got to be freaking kidding me, man! Are you kidding me? Oh my God! Are you absolutely kidding me right now? Bro, I cannot believe this. Second year in a row we're picking 5th, man. This is some BS. Are you kidding me? We had the worst record in the league, and we're picking 5th? I'm I quit. I quit, man. NBA is rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. We had the worst record in the league. One of the worst defenses ever. It's rigged. It's like, we drop all the way to 5. I swear. You know who's going to get it? Probably the Rockets or San Antonio. Yeah, I saw this coming a mile away. So glad that we tanked, by the way. So glad. Isn't it great? I'm so glad that we tanked. I just don't even know what you do. I don't even know what you do. There's literally nothing more that we could have done. There's nothing more. We were the worst team in the league. We had the highest odds. There's nothing we could have changed about what we did. It wasn't like we won meaningless games. It wasn't like we, finished outside of the top 3. No, we had the worst record in the NBA. We did everything right in accordance to this stupid tanking idea, but it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Why do we do this NBA lottery? Why? Because it didn't stop us from tanking. It didn't stop any team from tanking. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's so pointless. Why does anybody tank if you're just going to get fucked, excuse my French, if you're just going to get fucked and end up picking 5th? It's nonsense. It's stupid. There is nothing we could have done. But because, I don't know what they have against Detroit. Because we got to make it fair, we want to stop teams from tanking. Yeah, how'd that go? We won 16 games, Adam. We won 16 games. Didn't really look like we were you stopped tanking there. Now it's like I want to see who gets the first pick. But it's buffering now. Great. It's gonna load now. Okay. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. Why do we bother tanking? Why do we even bother doing it? I don't know what the hell Troy Weaver's gonna do. Because I don't want to take whoever's at 5. Well, Amen Thompson or whatever his name was. I'm not taking him. I don't want another 20-year-old on my team. It's a never-ending rebuild. It's a never-ending rebuild. Ben Wallace ought to go strangle Adam Silver in Minecraft. That's what he ought to do. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get I don't know why we didn't deserve it, or we just happened to get so unlucky. We get one lottery win this whole rebuild. Probably we're going to be tanking again. Great. Can't wait. Can't wait to tank again and then just pick 5th. It's excellent. He's going to Houston or to San Antonio. Who else is even left? Why don't they just reveal it all at once? Why do they go to commercial? It just seems like a waste of time. Oh, it's the Rockets, the Hornets. There's no way he's going to the Hornets. And the Trailblazers. Yeah, there's no way he's going to the Hornets. All right. Let's see. I'm going to guess Hornets, Trailblazers, Rockets, Spurs. Oh, the Rockets. Yeah, how'd that feel? How'd that feel, Houston? Drop all the way to 4th. There you go. So he's going to San Antonio then. Trailblazers. He's going to San Antonio. He's a Spur. It's going to be Charlotte. Charlotte. Yep. He's a San Antonio Spur. Oh, what a coincidence. What a coincidence. Oh, isn't that crazy? What a coincidence. Oh, get the fuck out of here with that. Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. That is some BS. That is so rigged. I'm sorry, I'm using the R word. That's rigged. That's some nonsense. The Spurs? Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. The moment a generational talent comes in, the 3rd worst team gets it. What did we pick last year when we were 3rd worst? 5th. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm done. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see this loser. I don't want to see this. Spurs are now public enemy number 1. They're my new public enemy number 1. I can't stand. That is some utter nonsense. I am so mad right now. I am beyond angry. The NBA is rigged, and nobody can tell me otherwise. The NBA is rigged. It is rigged. Rigged league. Rigged league. It's a rigged league. I'm texting Seth right now. The NBA is rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. So, glad that we had this show today. Very helpful. Had some good discussions. Had some good topics. Unfortunately, no Seth to watch me break down. So that's unfortunate. But I guess there's not really much else to talk about. The NHL conference finals are set. You have the Canes and Panthers taking on the Knights, or Canes versus the Panthers, and the Knights against the Stars. Should be some interesting games. I don't know. I'm beside myself right now. Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. There's nothing more we could have done. We were the worst team in the league, and we're picking 5th. Does that seem fair to anybody? Doesn't really seem fair to me. But that's the NBA for you. Never going to let Detroit catch a break. So, yeah, that is going to wrap up the show for this week. We'll be back again next week. Hopefully, Seth will be back next week. Probably get a more proper and emotionally sober reaction to the NBA draft. I'm probably still going to be pissed, honestly. I'm probably still going to be pissed. I'm not anticipating not being pissed because I think that's utterly ridiculous. I think it's utterly ridiculous that we're not picking number 1 overall. We were the worst team in basketball. That's it. I don't need to make any more of a case. Like, we don't do this in the NFL. We don't do this. We didn't do this in baseball. But now, for whatever reason, everybody's got to be the smartest guy in the room. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, yeah. We're going to end the show here. We'll be back again next week. We'll see what what's going on in the leagues. Yeah. Hopefully Seth will be back next week. But with that, if you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next show. So, yeah. Victor Wembanyama to the Spurs. Yeah, who would have thought? Have a good night, everybody, and I will see you all next week.